Information presented on this program and by its guest is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice, but are limited to the dissemination of general information and may not be suitable for members of the listening audience. A professional advisor, attorney, or tax professional should be consulted before implementing any of the strategies presented.
Are you retired or getting close? Welcome to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally, where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live your dream retirement. Are there challenges on the way? You bet. Inflation, the economy, and the ups and downs of today's markets will try to rob you of your dreams. But take heart and take notes, because what you're about to learn will put you on the winning side of life for the rest of your life. Now, here's the host of Retirement Lifestyles, Patrick McNally.
Hello everybody, Patrick McNally here, your favorite financial advisor. Hey, I want to welcome you to the Retirement Lifestyle Show, where it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedom to live your dream retirement. If you're already retired or getting close and you own a retirement account like an IRA or a 401k, this is the show for you, because I'm here to talk about money. I'm going to teach you about all of the different areas of financial planning, like risk management, cash management, investment concepts, retirement planning, tax planning, and even some estate planning. But most importantly, you'll discover how to plan for that number one thing you need in retirement, income. And even better than that, tax-free income. That's right, I want to teach you how to achieve what I call tax freedom in retirement, so that you don't have to worry about when Uncle Sam comes in, starts changing all the rules and coming for your retirement savings just because he can't balance his own checkbook or afford all of his unfunded promises. Most people would agree that taxes really have one way to go in the future, and that is up. So learning about how you can control future taxation is key. You see, I'm the owner of Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, a registered investment advisory firm specializing in retirement income strategies, and we're fiduciaries for our clients. For over 22 years now, I've helped people just like you plan for an amazing retirement. But what I have found is that most people worry in retirement. They worry about income, health care, inflation, the stock market, and higher taxes. Well, I'm here to tell you it's time for the worry to stop. And the best way to make it stop is with a plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you build your plan and guide you through this giant maze we call retirement planning. But you need to remember that retirement planning isn't just a one-time thing. No. It needs to be reviewed, updated, and sometimes even changed each and every year to match your current and long-term goals. The government changes their rules all the time, especially in regards to your retirement savings. So you need to be prepared each and every year. You need to be armed with the knowledge that you need to beat them at their own game. Okay, so we're headed into February, and the main topic for this month is cash management. So today I'm going to be starting us off talking about assessing your current situation and understanding how inflation eats away at your buying power. Effective cash management is really just getting a realistic view of how much of your money is available to spend. Now, without taking some time to know where you stand, that can cause a lot of trouble for you down the road. So we're going to be talking about how to manage that cash. Next, I'm going to be heading into my mailbag segment, where I'll answer some questions and even give some of my thoughts and opinions on some comments from other retirees or soon-to-be retirees that I interact with either online or even throughout our own city. And then I'm going to head into some specific IRA planning that really has more to do with 401k choices once you reach the age of 59 and a half. Now that's a kind of a magic number there that I want you to remember. 59 and a half. There are some strategies that most people actually don't know is available to them from their workplace retirement plan. So we'll be heading into that. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up the show with some action items that you can be implementing right away, and I know will help you achieve an amazing retirement. Now, throughout the show, you're going to have the opportunity to receive a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, and you'll even find out how you can schedule a free phone call with me personally to discuss your retirement goals, make sure you're on track, and answer any questions that you have. And for the month of February, I've also made a copy of my Retirement Lifestyles Budget Plan available on the website for free. So, during the break, you can go download it by visiting patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. Okay, I'm getting excited. Here's what you do next. Go refill your coffee and grab your pen and notepad, and I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Don't touch that dial. Patrick will be right back.
Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute, but I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles.
Okay, guys, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Patrick McNally. Today, really for the whole month of February, we are going to be focusing on cash management as our main financial planning topic. And really, cash management involves managing your cash flow. I mean, it's about creating a liquidity fund, positioning your available cash, and building your overall net worth. And what the focus today is going to be on is how to assess your current situation. So this is really going to be beneficial. It's going to be beneficial for everybody. But I think for a lot of people who are getting close to retiring, I would say 2 years or less, this is just a wonderful time for you to be planning ahead for some of these things and looking at what's the most important thing, in my opinion, that you have to plan for in retirement, and that is your income. And a big piece of income planning, comes in the form of cash on hand. And so those are the different things we're going to be talking about throughout the month of February. But today I want to teach you really just about how to assess your current situation. And there's a number of ways that you can do this. One of the easiest ways, quite honestly, is to just grab a yellow pad and draw a line right down the middle of it. And on one side, you're going to write down all of your current income sources, and on the right side, you're gonna write down, all of your expenses. And so you come up with an expense sheet. And
effective cash management is really just getting a realistic view of how much your money is available to spend. Because without adequate information, you could find yourself getting into trouble. And we see this all the time. A lot of people just try to wing it, right? They kind of maybe carry that number up in their head, like how much they can be spending each month. And I would say 99 out of 100 times when I make people do a budget, budget sheets aren't that fun. Oftentimes we'll joke and say, well, let's not call it a budget sheet. Let's call it a spending plan, because everybody likes to spend money. We just say, why not have a plan for it? There's nothing wrong with spending money. That's the fun part, but let's have a plan to do it. Because most people, and if you're out there, don't feel bad because I'm telling you, 99 out of 100 people who come to see us, they think they have that number up in their head, but then when we really make them sit down and write out all of those expenses, it can be really eye-opening because they're usually way underneath. Because you got to be careful today, especially when you're using tomorrow's dollars to pay for today's needs. And what I mean by that, and we'll be talking about this as well, is inflation. Because inflation is a big topic, especially right now. It's been a big topic for the last year or so. We've seen just large amounts of inflation, and we haven't been used to that. And inflation, quite simply, is just that's your buying power, and how your buying power gets eroded year after year, because the cost of goods and services continue to go up. And so when you're in retirement, and you guys know this, once you're in retirement, a lot of people are on a fixed income. So inflation can be a huge deal for you. So you need to make sure that the way that you're invested can help battle that inflation. One of the ways to assess your current situation is, and like I said before, start by making a list of your monthly income. And again, you can do this really easily on a yellow pad and write that on the left-hand side. And you're going to continue until you've determined exactly how much income is available to you on a monthly basis. This could be coming from, if you're already retired, could be coming from Social Security. You might be one of the lucky few who still has a pension, things like that. Maybe you've got rental properties. We've got a number of clients who have owned rentals for a long, long time. They've gotten to the point where those houses, those apartment buildings are paid off, and it's just cash flow coming in, which is wonderful. You may have a part-time job in retirement. Those are all your income sources, and you need to know exactly how much that's coming in and is available to you on a monthly basis. And then again, on that right-hand side of that yellow pad, I want you to list all of your fixed expenses. And these are expenses that are the same things every month. And if you've heard my show before, you know I often talk in terms of wants and needs, or needs and wants, whichever way you want to put that. Usually needs first, and that's what I'm talking about here, the needs. And these are, again, those expenses that come in every single month. You can't stop it, like your mortgage, your rent, car payments, the utility bill, the internet, that stuff that's coming in no matter what. Those are fixed expenses. Now, you can go back to that yellow sheet and you can carve off another line to the right of it, and you could put the wants. And this is where I like to say, this is where you put kind of the fun stuff. The trips, the travel, the activities, the golf, all those cool things you can put in that list. And so some of these non-monthly periodic expenses, is what we call that, need to be calculated to fit a monthly time frame. So a lot of times, and you can even do this with things like auto insurance, for example. Like I don't pay monthly for my auto insurance. Sometimes they send you a bill every 4 months. They do it weird. But you just got to figure out what it is on a monthly basis. So if it comes every 6 months, multiply that, divide it by 6, or multiply it by 12, divide it by 12, however you want to figure out the monthly on that. Find the easiest way to turn that into a monthly expense. So you then can determine exactly what you need to pay each month. And be honest with yourself. There is no use in trying to manipulate these numbers or round down. These numbers aren't for anybody else. They are your numbers. They are they're for your personal use. So once you've listed everything, I want you now to compare those bottom line numbers. Add them all up. Add up the income, write a line under it. Add up all those expenses, write a line under it. And then
there's going to be several items that I want you to evaluate. And I want you to determine which expenses are fixed and which ones are flexible. Again, you should have separated those. And you might be able to reduce the ones over which you have some control, because shortfalls in income are what tends to wreak havoc with anybody's financial situation. Now, obviously, if you got a surplus, you're looking at that going, hey, I got way more income than my expenses. Clap your hands, pat yourself on the back. You're doing really, really good. But most people, they've got a shortfall. Very, very common to have a shortfall. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a minute before I'm going to go to another break. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you about how to take care of that shortfall, or what I call a gap. If you haven't had a chance during the break, I want you guys to visit patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. What I've done is, now you can do it on your yellow sheet if you've been doing that while you've been listening to me, but I have put a budget sheet up on the website. It's free, you can download it, and you can even, it's fillable, so you can put in those things and save it. But you can go do that at the break so we can walk through this thing together. But when I come back, I'm going to be teaching you how to fill those gaps. So don't go anywhere. Back in 2 minutes.
You're listening to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in retirement is healthcare-related costs. So fitness needs to be a part of your financial planning. Check out my gym, Strong City Strength and Conditioning, right down on Victor Avenue. They have a new group class called Longevity on Tuesdays and Thursdays, designed for people age 55 and better. If you want to have fun and get fit, then visit strongcitystrengthandconditioning.com. That's strongcitystrengthandconditioning.com. Mention the show and get your first week for free. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show today. I'll be back in just a few minutes, but if you haven't had the chance to get your free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, this is a great time to do it. Well, unless you're driving. In that case, remember this website and visit it when you get home. patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. This book has all the tips and strategies that I talk about each week on the show. It's 8 easy-to-read chapters that you can probably finish in a few short hours and then implement right away. I show you how to set up a predictable, safe, and consistent retirement income, how to understand what rates of return you need to protect your life savings, how to plan ahead for the major proposed cuts to your Social Security checks, and much more. Consider this book your personal guide to navigating retirement safely. Order your free copy today at patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. Say it with me one more time, patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Hello, welcome back to the show. This is Retirement Lifestyles. I am your host, Patrick McNally. If you're just joining us, thank you so much. And we are talking about cash management. We're going to be talking about cash management for the month of February. And if you don't know, what I basically do is each month I have a different area of financial planning that I tackle. So each and every week kind of ties into the last. And so the month of February, we're talking about managing your cash flow, especially in retirement or if you're getting close. It's a great time to do it. And we left off talking about a cash flow worksheet. If you hadn't had a chance, you can visit patrickmcnally.com, download one for free. But walking through the way that you can use this worksheet to determine your net cash flow. It's going to help you track your monthly income and your expenses and essentially determine your discretionary income. Now, I know this is work. It takes a little bit of effort. It shouldn't take you a long time to do it, though, especially if you just do it once. Well, especially if you download that free budget guide, our spending plan from the website. It's a fillable PDF, and you can literally save a copy and then fill it in
And like if you want to do this every 3 months, to do a check, well, then you just have that copy already saved. You know what I'm saying? Or you can go old school, like sometimes I love to do, is grab the yellow pad, draw a line down the middle on the left side. I want you to put, income sources on that right side, put expenses, and then maybe even draw one more line off to that right side and say, kind of the fun stuff, the wants on top of that, things you can control like that. But we really want to knock this down and get to a point where you can find out if there's a gap between your income and your expenses. Another way to say that gap is like if there's a shortfall, basically. And if there is, do not feel bad. I'm telling you, 99 out of 100 people have a shortfall. I'm not kidding you. It's very common to see. And the reason for that is because we all kind of get used to, most people don't do a budget every single month. And that's normal. So when we don't do a budget, when we don't look at our expenses and track those numbers, we have this floating number up in our head. And oftentimes, like I said, 99 out of 100 of the people who come in here and see me and do a review, I make them do a budget sheet. But I make them do that after I ask them, so about how much are you guys spending each month? And they're like, oh, well, probably about $5,000, about right around 5,000, plus or minus a couple of hundred. It's like, okay, cool. And then I make them do a budget sheet and they come in, kind of slide it over a little sheepishly like, oh, you're spending $7,000 a month. Very normal. So don't feel bad. But in that scenario, let's say, for example, there's a gap of about $2,000. They thought they were only spending $5,000, and they're like, what are we spending our money on? And this is a really useful exercise because you can find things that sometimes you can just cut out altogether. I know, and I don't have this right in front of me, but I know it's floating around social media. There's a company, there's an app for your phone that you got to subscribe to, but I think it's pretty minimal. But it will actually search all of your accounts and find, it lists all of the stuff like that you're on for subscriptions, like Netflix or the gym membership that you started last year, went 3 times and never went back. You've been paying for that every single month, right? It's on automatic debit. And so a lot of times these like $8 a month, $15 a month, those things add up really, really quick. So this app is able to go through and show you exactly what you can, what you're spending. And so you can go in and decide if you want to cancel it or not. I'll try to find that and I'll put that up on the website, but you can Google it, I'm sure, pretty easy and find out what it is. But the whole thing comes down to managing and controlling your cash flow, because if you can't manage your cash flow, it will manage you. Okay? I want you to think about that, because for most Americans today, this is the problem. This is why we don't see savings rates over like 2% a year. Is because Americans just can't control their spending. They can't control their savings. And most of it usually just boils down to tracking the numbers. And so I want to walk through kind of this cash flow worksheet. I'm going to do it pretty quick, but these are some of the things that you can really be looking at. If you're looking at your income, you're going to write down your employment, salary, wages, tips, business income. If you've got investments, are you getting any taxable interest from those investments? Do you get dividends from the stocks? How much of those dividends are coming in? Rental income, like I said, if you're part of a partnership and you have income from that, alimony, pensions, Social Security benefits, all those incomes need to be added up so that gives you that total monthly income. And then on the other side, you got those monthly expenses, and you need to add in taxes. Taxes is for retirees. Taxes is usually the major expense, and most people don't put that into their budget, believe it or not. But when you're in retirement, you're not having that money withheld from your paycheck every single month like you're used to, right? That's what the government does. They're not stupid, but they're smart, right? That's what they do with employees. They extract all the money before you get your hands on it. But in retirement, you get all the money and then you're responsible for the taxes. So you need to figure out what that is and pay estimated. Do you have loan payments? You got a mortgage, you got a car payment, you got credit cards, stuff like that. What about insurance? Life insurance, auto, homeowners, long-term care, medical, dental, all that stuff. Food, all those household expenses, utilities. These lines add up. And this goes back to, we don't just
carry around all these numbers in our head. We kind of think we have, at the end of the day, that number at the bottom line. But that's going to give you all the expenses, and then you're basically going to take your monthly income minus the expenses, and what's the net cash flow? Is it a negative? And how do you make up that negative? Most people, guys, you make it up in one of two ways. You either make up for it with your savings, like your IRAs, your 401ks, your retirement accounts, which is where most people make it up, or you need to alter your lifestyle, and you need to figure out ways to cut. And guys, we're Americans. We don't like to cut expenses. We like to spend money. So let's face it. Most people, they're going to dip into their life savings. They're going to dip into their retirement accounts. And that's where you need to be careful, is how much you can pull out of there. Once you assess your current situation, you know your month-to-month cash management, the accounting, you can analyze, you can adjust. That's when you can start building a liquidity fund. And I always want you, you've heard of Dave Ramsey, I'm sure. I've trained with Dave, and you've heard of the emergency fund. I'm a big believer in that. You need to have, at minimum, an emergency cash in your house, not in the bank, not, tied up somewhere, $1,000. You got to have cash at home. Put it in a safe, put it somewhere, put it in an envelope, have that cash on hand for an emergency. This is your little rainy day money. Your little savings account at home that you set aside for those life's little, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming thing. So that's what I want you to get to. If you got questions about that, we can always schedule a phone call, talktopatrick.com. Again, we're going to another break. If you hadn't downloaded that budget sheet, visit patrickmcnally.com, and get you a free copy today. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Don't touch that dial. Patrick will be right back.
Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute. But I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
You've heard me say it's all about having the health, wealth, and freedoms you need to live your dream retirement. When it comes to the health side, I want to tell you about my family's personal chiropractor, Dr. Todd Royce, owner of Chiropractic First. Not only does he adjust us and get us back to our active lives, he teaches us about ongoing nutrition and living healthier. If you have any pain or stiffness in your back or neck, I want you to call Chiropractic First today at 243-0889. Mention Patrick for a free consultation. You don't need to live with pain or discomfort anymore. Call Dr. Todd at 243-0889. Or visit online at chirofirst.net.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. TalkToPatrick.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles. I'm your host, Patrick McNally. Thank you for joining me. If you're just joining, we are heading into another segment. We just finished off talking about our financial planning segments of cash flow for the month of February. So if you missed any of that, you can find it a couple of ways. You can visit the website, patrickmcnally.com, and up in the right-hand corner, you'll find the podcast button and radio show buttons, and you can find it there. Or we do podcast this show, so if you like listening to podcasts, you'll find it on iTunes, on Spotify, Google, Amazon, all of the major carriers, wherever you listen to podcasts, you will find Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally. And so that show will be updated. It's going out right now, so it should be updated by tomorrow. Anyway, we are headed now into what I like to call my mailbag segment. And this is where I have a lot of fun answering questions or commenting on other comments of yours and of groups like on Facebook and things like that I'm a part of. And I've got actually 2 I found on Facebook that I want to walk through today and kind of go through those. So let's do that. Let's just kind of walk through some of these and have ourselves a little bit of fun. This first one says, for those past their Social Security, quote, break-even age, usually age 78 or higher, who took Social Security before your FRA, or your full retirement age, do you wish you'd waited to take it? That's a great question. And then she edited to add, I know the pros and cons of when to take Social Security, but would like the personal experiences of those over the age of 78. I think my parents would have been better off waiting since Social Security was all they had. My 80-year-old brother-in-law took it at 62 and has no regrets, but he has other income to supplement. So I thought this was a really great question, because that kind of is one of the golden questions that people want answered once they get close to retiring. When should I take my Social Security? Now, a couple of people commented on here, and one of them that I thought is usually the first thing that pops into my mind regarding when somebody wants to take it early. And she answered, good question, because the pertinent responses will come from those having reached the break-even point. My mother took it at 62 and is now 86 and says it is one of the worst financial decisions she ever made. She is quite investment savvy and doesn't rely on Social Security to make ends meet, but has friends that do, and they are now struggling and having to make some hard choices. So that's usually the first thing that I think of when I discuss Social Security with potential clients, people who come in to see me or have questions. It's talking about once you take it early, it's locked in. You know, you're not at your full retirement age, which that time period from 62 to 67, for most people, I think we've crossed over the age barrier. I think everybody's at 67 now. But once that 5 years of time period could add on 30 to 40% more of paycheck. Now, obviously, I understand that sometimes people don't have a choice. They have to retire from a job, whether it's an accident or they got hurt or something happened. They need to retire. But most of the time, honestly, guys, it's because you want to retire. You're like, I am done working. I just want to relax. I want to enjoy my retirement. I'm done. I've been at this job for 30 years and, what, you fill in the blank. They hired a new boss who's half my age and doesn't like me. I've heard it all. And I get that. But sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes when I hear some of the stories, I want to say, well, just kind of, can you suck it up for 5 more years? And that's a big addition to your paycheck. And like this lady said, in her situation, her mom took it at 62, is now 86. Yeah, you got the cost of living adjustments a little bit each year. But quite honestly, they really don't keep up with real inflation. I mean, you've got those adjustments a little bit, but then you've got Medicare that increases its costs. So it's kind of a wash when that happens. It's not really a real raise. So yeah, I can understand why it could get tight. People could have trouble paying their bills, with just Social Security. And it's especially hard if that's all you've got. So I guess my recommendation for most people is if you're heading into retirement and you don't have any other savings, you don't have a 401k or an IRA or anything like that, your main source of income is going to be Social Security. I would say you want to wait as long as you possibly can to maximize the benefit. Well, what's the drawback to that? Well, what if you die, before the crossover age is what she's calling it, anytime before that? I mean, I could say that about my mother. She passed away 6 years ago. She and my dad had all of these plans. she was like, I'm going to just keep working. My dad had already retired. She's like, I'm just going to keep working, get to 70, max out my Social Security, and then we'll both have that maxed out benefit, and we'll be able to have some fun. Well, she passed away at 69, so she didn't even make it to 70 to even turn on the Social Security. And as you know, or you may not know, Social Security has no spousal benefit, which I think is ridiculous. We pay into this Ponzi scheme our entire lives, and then want to go turn on the income. We've been married to our spouse for however long or whatnot. It doesn't really matter how long. But if you're married, there's no beneficiary of your Social Security. You basically get to keep the higher of the two. So it's brutal. So that can be a huge loss to income right there as well. And I could do a whole show on how to replace that. But it's going back to kind of guessing when is the best time to do it. And that's what it is. It's a guess. Because you don't know how long you're going to have it. You don't know how long you're going to live. So do you put it off and then risk the chance of passing away? I guess you need to look into your family history and say, but again, I go back to my personal experience. We looked at that. My grandmother, my mother's mother, she ironically just passed away the day after Christmas, and she was 97. My great-grandmother, my mother's grandma, died at age 100. So we're like, my mom's going to live till she's 100. Easy. Well, life happened. She had a stroke from out of nowhere. Passed away at 69. I mean, blew us all away. So even looking at family history, trying to guess, what might happen in the future, who knows? Who knows? But I would say you really just need to do the financial planning. You need to do the income planning. Look at the numbers and compare that to... if you've got, 401ks and IRAs and all kinds of other money away from Social Security, you can supplement it with that. Might be a little bit of an easier decision, but I would really consider if Social Security is your only source of income, maybe waiting as long as you can. Guys, that's all I have. I got to go do another break, and I had 2 of these to talk about, but Social Security took up the whole thing. If you got questions about that, want to meet with me or talk with me on the phone, visit talktopatrick.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Smooth. You're listening to Retirement Lifestyles with Patrick McNally.
Did you know that when I'm not here doing the show, I run Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, an independent registered investment advisory firm specializing in retirement income planning and managing investments for people who are currently retired or are getting close. I've been in financial services for over 22 years now and hosted this show for over 10. With a little bit of good planning, you can have peace of mind and a great retirement, and I'd love to help. If you would like to get more information or to learn about how you can work with us, visit patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. TalkToPatrick.com.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show today. I'll be back in just a few minutes, but if you haven't had the chance to get your free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, this is a great time to do it. Well, unless you're driving. In that case, remember this website and visit it when you get home. patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. This book has all the tips and strategies that I talk about each week on the show. It's 8 easy-to-read chapters that you can probably finish in a few short hours and then implement right away. I show you how to set up a predictable, safe, and consistent retirement income, how to understand what rates of return you need to protect your life savings, how to plan ahead for the major proposed cuts to your Social Security checks, and much more. Consider this book your personal guide to navigating retirement safely. Order your free copy today at patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com. Say it with me one more time, patrickmcnally.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. You're just joining us. My name is Patrick McNally, and I'm the host of Retirement Lifestyles Advisors. Well, Retirement Lifestyles Advisors is actually the name of my financial planning firm. I'm the host of Retirement Lifestyles Radio Show. Okay. And we've been tooling along, talking about some good topics. If you missed any of the show, in the first part of the show, we talked about cash management. That's our financial planning piece for the month of February, is cash management, and specifically on how to assess your current situation, which is kind of fancy for how to create a budget and know exactly what your numbers are. And then I just kind of came off talking about, in my mailbag segment, one of our Facebook groups. And I encourage you guys, if you're on Facebook, check out some of these retirement groups. They're super, super cool. A lot of good questions, a lot of good comments, a lot of good, tips and things, trips. It's not just all financial, but different ideas. I mean, even cooking, recipes and all kinds of good stuff. And so anyway, I talked about, Social Security, something that caught my eye today. One of the posts was about, people who have reached that age in life, right about 78, where the Social Security kind of crossover if you took it early, 62. And if you regret doing that, and gave you some comments on that. So you can visit the website, patrickmcnally.com, click on the radio tab up in the right-hand corner, and you'll find the show. Probably tomorrow it'll be uploaded. Or if you're a podcaster, you can visit us on iTunes or Amazon or Spotify, all the major carriers of podcasts, and subscribe to the show so you don't miss any of the episodes. But right now, I'm going to launch into my IRA segment. This is the segment where I want to get very, very specific on retirement accounts. If you've listened to the last couple of shows, I've kind of been talking about Secure 2.0 Act, like ad nauseum. Each and every one of those shows, I've been talking about, some different aspect of Secure 2.0 and how it affects your retirement accounts. And even last week, I talked about the Rothification. What did I call it? Like Rothomania. Some of the different things, the different rule changes for Roth accounts. So that was a good one. But today I'm not talking about Secure 2.0. I actually want to talk about a planning technique and a certain age that a lot of people aren't aware of. And some different techniques that I've used personally with clients, obviously, from an investment standpoint and for their planning. And I want to talk to you about that and give you some ideas, and maybe you can check into if it's even available for you. When you are a part of your employer's 401k or, 403b, whatever kind of plan you have at work, a lot of times your employer has written into the plan agreements that when you reach the age of 59 and a half, you have an option of doing what's called an in-service rollover. It's also called an in-service distribution, but distribution freaks people out when they think about that. They think, they're going to send me all my money, I'm going to pay all my taxes on it. No, okay, think of it as a rollover. It's all in the verbiage. But it's in service because you're not retiring at 59 and a half. Maybe your plan is to continue to work till you get to Medicare age so that when you retire, you've got health insurance benefits, or you want to work till you get to full retirement age for Social Security, which is 67 for most people. Whatever that looks like. Sometimes, most of the time, you're very limited on your investment choices through your employer plan. And you know this if you've looked at that, list of mutual funds and different bond funds and cash accounts that are available to you. Most of the time, we see maybe 30 to 50 different choices. And that may seem like a lot. It's not. It may seem like a lot because it's kind of daunting to kind of go in and choose. Which ones do I pick? And they've all got these fancy names like, Super Duper XYZ, Super Duper 401k plan, whatever. They've all got their fancy names, and international, and, how much do you put over there? And I'll just give you my shameless plug. If you want help with that, if you want help on how to actually allocate your 401k plan, we can help you do that. Just find a time, schedule a phone call. It's the best way to do it. Anyway, if when people come to me, for example, and they're right around that age, maybe they're 58, 57, and we find out that their employer allows them to do this. Now, if you're up in the North State, maybe you've heard of a company called Sierra Pacific. They are a magnificent company up here, timber company, forestry. And I have a number of clients from Sierra Pacific, and some are completely retired now, and some are still working there. And some have opted to do this because their plan allows that. I just want to give you an example. So when we do planning, a lot of times we'll do it different than just, we don't like mutual funds for one thing. We don't like all the fees and all that stuff that goes with those. But what you can do if you choose is you can roll over your 401k to an IRA, your own individual IRA. And that way now it opens you up to unlimited choice of how you want to invest. And that can really come in handy from the standpoint that now you are not limited to just, say, 30 mutual funds, and maybe you're doing the thing where you've got, target date funds and things like that, where, the funds automatically, each year you get older, you just own more bonds. It's pretty simple. It's like set it and forget it. But it's not very customized. When we do planning for people, it's very custom and tailored to your individual needs and how you want to create income in retirement. Well, we have our planning that we do. And if that matches with somebody and what they want to accomplish, sometimes it makes sense. Not for everybody, but sometimes it makes sense to do that in-service rollover to an IRA. You got to be 59 and a half or older to do it, and the plan has to allow it. So that can free you up from a planning standpoint, and that's why I want to bring this up. Because maybe this year you're turning 59 and a half. Who knows? You want to do some planning, but you don't want to retire for 5 or 6 years or maybe 10 years. Well, you can do planning early now. You see, for a lot of people that want to come on board with us and they're like, hey, I want to do that planning now. I want to get on board with that. Well, sometimes you can't because your 401k doesn't allow an in-service distribution. So the way to find out is to contact your HR department and simply ask them, and they'll tell you yes or no, and they'll tell you, exactly what you need to do. Sometimes you have to leave a certain amount in the account, and that's another piece I want to remind you of. If you do something like this, and this isn't advice to go do it, you need to talk to your advisors, talk to your HR people, and do it right. You want to make sure that, number one, you can keep the account open. Because if you're contributing to the plan, you can contribute way more to a 401k than you can an IRA. So that's one reason that you want to keep the plan open. Also, you may have to keep a certain amount in the plan, maybe like the employer's matches, contributions, stuff like that. So there's some little tidbits here and there, but I want you to consider that it could be a good planning strategy if you're looking for a way to do outside planning than just what's available to you. If you got questions about that, schedule a call with me. Visit talktopatrick.com. I'd love to expand on that, answer any questions that you have. When I come back, I'm going to be going into my action items segment to finish up and wrap up the show. So don't go anywhere. Back in 2 minutes. Hey guys, pardon the quick interruption. I'll get back to the show in just a minute, but I want to give you the opportunity to get a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, a simple guide to navigating retirement. It's 8 chapters packed with tips and strategies on how to prepare for an awesome retirement. I go through investments, estate planning, Social Security, and more. Simply visit patrickmcnally.com and request a copy. That website again is patrickmcnally.com. Throughout the book, I'm going to explain the importance of planning ahead and focusing on income strategies that are going to set you up for success and lead you to a retirement lifestyle of abundance. I'll also be teaching you about the Retirement Lifestyles Income Plan, my custom financial planning process and investment strategy with the objective of providing inflation-adjusted income for life. This book is packed with all kinds of strategies, and you can get your free copy right now at patrickmcnally.com.
Are you worried about the current U.S. economy, inflation, the pandemic? Then it's time to schedule a free retirement checkup call with Patrick. The world is changing every day, and your life savings is too important to be at risk. If you want to feel confident and secure in retirement, then simply visit talktopatrick.com and reserve a free checkup call on his calendar. Remember the website, talktopatrick.com. Don't wait. This is too important. talktopatrick.com.
Did you know that when I'm not here doing the show, I run Retirement Lifestyles Advisors, an independent registered investment advisory firm specializing in retirement income planning and managing investments for people who are currently retired or are getting close. I've been in financial services for over 22 years now and hosted this show for over 10. With a little bit of good planning, you can have peace of mind and a great retirement, and I'd love to help. If you would like to get more information or to learn about how you can work with us, visit patrickmcnally.com. That's patrickmcnally.com.
Welcome back to Retirement Lifestyles.
Hey, guys, we made it. We are at the final segment. Time flies when you're having fun and just all kinds of good stuff. Felt like this was just a really packed show. And so what I want to do is I just want to wrap it up really quickly, and then I want to give you 3 action items that you guys can implement right away. In fact, I'll just kind of, as I recap, I'll give you that action item that I want you to do. If you missed any of the show, in the first part of the show, we talked about, in the month of February, we're talking about cash management. That's the financial planning puzzle piece, if you will, the main puzzle piece for the month of February. And then we're going to break down everything underneath cash management. The first thing we talked about really was assessing your current income needs. And the best way to do that is with a budget form. And if you don't have a budget form, there's one of 2 things you can do. You can create your own. And the easiest way to do that's with a good old-fashioned yellow pad and bust that guy out. Put a line down the middle, put your income on the left side, all your bills on the other. List everything out so that the goal of this is to get to whether or not you have a gap in your income versus your expenses. Because you want to know that. You want to know that not only in retirement, we all need to know that, but most of the time people don't plan for that. And I would say if you guys, once you do it once, you can actually get to the point where you can skim stuff really quick and update those numbers. You can literally do this once a quarter and you'd be, on track. So I highly encourage you to do that. If you don't want to use a yellow pad or whatnot, if you'd like a free copy, I've got one pre-built for you. It's probably got way more stuff on it than you even need to fill in. But you can visit patrickmcnally.com and download yourself a free copy of it. Go there, after the show and get you one. It's free from listening to the show. Number 2, we went into our mailbag segment where we talked about Social Security. And one of the comments from the Facebook group, the retiree group that I'm on, was, hey, I want to hear from people who are like age 78 and above and took Social Security early. So you took Social Security at 62. Now you've gotten to that point in life where the kind of that crossover point has passed, which is about 78. Are you happy that you did it? And there were a few comments on there that weren't, and some that said, no, they're just fine, and they got plenty of other income to supplement it. So it kind of depends on where you are in life, if it makes sense for you to do that. My tip, my action item for you is this. If you're not on Social Security yet, take your time and plan for when is the best time to start your Social Security benefits. That may seem simple, but slow down and really think about it. Don't just shoot from the hip. Yeah, I'm taking it at 62. I'm done working. Whatever. I'm done. Calculate the cost. The nerd in me wants to use my econ degree and say, opportunity cost. That's one of those big fancy words for what are you missing out on, if you wait. What are you missing out on if you do it early? You got to calculate opportunity costs both ways. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you take your Social Security early, meaning 62, but you still want to work a little bit, maybe part-time, they cap you, and it's low. It's like 20 grand maybe. Don't quote me on that. They change it every year a little bit, but it's low. And if you make more than that, they penalize your Social Security benefits. So it's kind of like either retire or don't. If you're still going to work, keep working. Maybe try to make it to full retirement age if you can. Now, I understand if there's health things involved and life happens and so forth, but it is something to really consider, do the math on, and speak to an advisor. They can help you do it. Number 3, here's my final one. We talked about what's called an in-service distribution or an in-service rollover. Find out from HR if you can do one. If you're 59 and a half You don't have to wait to 59 to ask, but ask HR, does our plan allow for an in-service distribution? And they'll tell you guys. And if that's the case, maybe consider doing some planning while you're still working. You can move that money to an IRA. You got way more choices. Could be a good thing for you guys. All right, that is the show for today. I want to thank you for listening. If you hadn't had a chance to order a free copy of my book, Retirement Planning 101, where I go into a whole lot of these topics in the book, you can do that by visiting patrickmcnally.com. If you'd like to talk to me, schedule a free phone call as a listener of the show, I'm happy to do that for you. You can do that on the website as well, or you can go to talktopatrick.com, whatever's easier. So that's it for the show today, guys. I want to wish you the best in retirement, and I'll be back at it again next week.
Have you seen